Oh my god, that'd be funny. So, we've been standing here and it's been transitioning at night.
Yep.
So, like, I just imagine, like, Shulk turned to Ryan and said, "What do you think we should get for dinner tonight?" And Ryan's just sitting here thinking,
This has like a thought bubble above Ryan's head, and it shows like a milk carton fall over.
I'm gonna fucking choke.
No, don't die.
Oh, fuck. This is the end. This is the end of Philly Film Games. Eric just killed Sam with comedy. Philly Film Games. It's over. Welcome back to Game Interruption.
Yeah, a lot of them.
A lot of the things were happening. My mother just called. They're under 3 feet of snow where I'm from. See, that's like the big difference between here and Pennsylvania. North Dakota, people just freeze to death. Back home, we get buried in snow.
Yeah.
Because I think the most snow I've ever seen around here... No, I think I've been here when it's had a snowstorm about a foot.
Oh yeah,
There's
been more than that. When I was younger, we did get snowed like completely in.
Yeah. Well, like, what was it, a couple weeks ago? No, weeks. Years ago. I think it was my second year here. Yeah, my second year here, it was like the end of March or the beginning of April. We had here in town a rather big snowstorm. And it wasn't happening like directly at the overnight. Mm-hmm. It came later, and so they closed school down. But it hadn't. When I woke up at 6 a.m. for everything, I got the text that said campus is closed. So I got up anyway, and I went over to the supermarket and got some stuff because that's another thing. That I always, I cracked jokes with my father this morning about that. Because he was like, yeah, we got 3 feet of snow. And I'm like, was there any bread and milk left? Because that's a thing. I don't know if it happens here, but back home, if there's even a threat of, 6 inches or more, all of a sudden, all the bread and milk is gone. Nobody has bread or milk. And, so I was like, well, I need to get some things anyway, so I went, and it's still clear as, everything's clear, everything's fine, and I get all my stuff, and I go to the campus, and the great thing about that day was, it was the first day, it was opening day in baseball, nice. So I have the day off anyway, so I'm in the office doing work, and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna do whatever academic work I need to get done. And then the baseball game that I wanted to watch was at 3, and it was on TV. And the TV in the next room from my office is pretty large, so I had this whole building to myself. And I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna just get some stuff. I'm gonna watch this game, and I'll feel good. And I stayed and watched the entire game and whatnot. And God, I remember when I left the office that day, because like I said, this was early April, so daylight was a little bit longer on. I think it was 5:30. Mm-hmm. There was 1.5 feet of snow on, what is this? Third, so 4th Avenue, or 4th Avenue. No, 2nd Avenue. On 2nd Avenue, and I'm just slogging through it, and I'm like, man, this shit wasn't here this morning. God damn it.
Yeah.
But this is what you get.
What happens?
Yeah, back home right now. In fact, the governor of Pennsylvania had already declared a state of emergency before the shit even came down.
And he's just like, this is gonna be bad.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. I don't know if I'm gonna use any of the phone call because it was all recorded. The phone, well, at least my part of the phone call. Although my mother is loud, I don't know how much you heard of her.
I could hear.
Yeah, this is mainly the reason why I'm quiet, because that's her normal tone. So I'm naturally a normal, like when I'm doing this, I'm not, but there's a reason why I'm actually a quiet person, because she's all the volume you need.
Yeah, there's no need for anything extra.
Yeah. So, one of the things that she had mentioned was, like, I've probably talked about this in the past, but I'm a member of a fundamentalist church, and it's not the Westboro Baptist Church. But I mean, we're pretty fundamentalist people, and you wouldn't know that if you've been talking to me. She had mentioned that our current pastor canceled church tomorrow, which has never happened. I mean, the guy that this one replaced always made a statement that he would never cancel Sunday morning services ever. He didn't care if it was just him and God.
Yeah.
Like, that was his deal. He was just like, because he literally lived over the hill from the church, so he could, he could just walk there and,
Yeah, he didn't need anything.
Yeah, because he had access to everything, so he didn't care. Yeah, he's like, I don't care if it's just me and God talking. I'm having church. Make it if you want, but I'm having church. Oh, you made it to a point.
I got here. I pushed a button. That was pretty anticlimactic for releasing the seal.
Yeah, it kind of was. God, is this going to be like you... Like, this is Back to the Future, and you got to connect the plugs so that you can get back to 1985?
Yeah, something like that.
Oh, God. But, yeah, this is... I have never known, like, my home church to never cancel Sunday, and ours did it. I'm like, wow, this is a sign of the times. But, yeah, because, like, I may have... Well, you can run past them. Fuck them.
Well, Ryan will piss somebody off.
Fuck them anyway. Because, I'm a fundamentalist. Fuck them.
Yeah, exactly.
Although that's not going to end well.
Yeah, no, he ain't.
But running is a viable strategy. Keep running.
I could. Well,
I mean, your other friends will drop, but as long as you still survive, you're fine.
they come back to life.
Yeah, they do. So, yeah, because, like, the one time I thought might have happened would have been if you lived on the East Coast back in the early 90s, we had this horrible winter. The winter,
shit.
Well, that
sucks.
Yeah, and he followed you all the way down here.
Yes, he did.
Jesus Christ.
Shulk's at half health already.
Yeah. So, we had a horrible winter in 93, and it culminated in the blizzard of 93, which was, I think, also at the end of March. There's always something about the end of March, early April, when those blizzards come through that are always the worst. I don't know really what it is, but they do tend to be the worst, because that winter, I think we missed 50 days of school because of snow.
Nuts.
Like, that's just how bad it was. There were a couple weeks where we didn't even go to school at all. And the actual blizzard of 93 was one of them. Because we received, I think, 4.5 feet of snow.
Impressive.
In one shot, yeah. And it buried. I mean, I remember I stayed at my dad's house, and there was just snow halfway up the door.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I have to go to work, because he was doing natural gas wells back then. He's like, you have to dig this out.
Yeah, there's no way we have to get out.
It's like he's like, it's gonna take me forever and a day to get through all this shit, but because you can't go anywhere, even if you wanted to, you have to dig this out. Fine. And all I had was a shovel.
Yep.
That's all I had. And it's like, oh God, I'm not gonna make this. And like, he even looked at me and he's like, don't even, because we had a snowblower too. He's like, don't even bother trying.
Yeah.
It will not be able to handle this. Yes, it's an old case tractor, but it sure as hell is not going to be able to do this.
This ain't gonna work.
No. And it was bad. It took me probably an hour just to get the first 5 feet of the sidewalk cleared out because
that's all you could dig.
And I was like, I was so beat, and I'd be like, all right, I gotta stop. I'm gonna go in and play Mortal Kombat, and then I'll come back like in an hour.
Yeah, I'll come do some more when I can function.
Yeah. And yeah, that one was pretty bad. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I still can't. Yeah, that was the same winter that we actually even went through a cold spell. And we actually had like negative 20 degrees in Pennsylvania. Nice. And the school said no. That was another week where we missed out school because we didn't even hit 0, which here is like, and
yeah, we're like, what? Who cares?
Yeah, but like the buses couldn't run, and they were like, we're not having children stand out in this because we're all country. That's what you do. If you had a bus shanty, you're lucky.
Yeah.
So they're like, no. So that got thrown out the window. And I think, because we missed 50 days of school, we only had to make up 10 because it was ridiculous. The state was just like,
there's no way.
There's no way you can make this up.
Yeah.
Just make up 10 and you're good. Yeah, I don't recall ever getting out of school on schedule. Ever. Because of snow at home back in the day. Ever. Because snow gets fucking ridiculous where I live. Like, again, like, and that's how crazy this fucking winter has been. My dad was driving his motorcycle in the middle of December. It was still 60 degrees out.
Yep.
Now, just, weeks later, it's 3 feet of fucking snow.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
well,
great. That sucks balls.
Yeah. Well,
God. And I remember having to go to work when I was still in high school, and they had declared states of emergency. Mm-hmm. And I worked at the restaurant, Eaton Park. My boss is like, "No, you got to come in." I'm like, "Who the fuck is out?"
Yeah. Who's gonna come here?
Yeah. Like, maybe my dad, because, the shit don't work at the house to cook food. But no one's going to be there.
Uh-huh.
And I remember I went in my little shitty, my 84 Ford Ranger, my first vehicle. I somehow made it. Well, I had four-wheel drive. It was that shitty old-school Ford four-wheel drive where you had to turn the hubs and fucking they had to lock and, oh, God.
Yeah, there was a lot more than a button.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Jesus Christ. That shit was unbelievable. Because, first of all, that truck was not a fucking truck. It was a V6, but it was like a 1.8 liter engine. It was barely a V6.
Yeah, it barely counts.
And it was so goddamn light. Like, when the big snows did show up, I had to, like, just take shovelfuls of snow and then throw it in the back of the bed so that, I wouldn't slip around all over the creation.
Yeah, so you had weight.
Yes. Fucking truck was a nightmare, but it was like the best. It's actually has been the best vehicle I ever owned. It lasted 10 years with me. Because my father bought it brand new in '84. And like 2 years later, I think, he got a job where he had to have a company truck. So he just drove the company truck. And then that thing sat in the garage for almost, 10 years not being used. So he's like, all right, you can have it. I'll never be able to drive this thing. You can have it. And
you're just like, okay.
Yeah. And so, I mean, we both of us fixed that thing up. And that's the one good thing. I'm grateful for it because even though when I was younger I would bitch about it, that I actually had that time to work on the truck with him. Mm-hmm. Because even though that shit doesn't even exist on most vehicles nowadays, it's like you still know how to fix it, and it's still like a valuable thing to like appreciate.
Yeah,
that sort of shit.
Okay, let's get going.
Because by God, nobody knows how to fucking fix a damn thing nowadays. Because everything's computerized, or if they get an old relic like that, they don't know what the fuck to do with it. Like, a great case in point. This scared the shit out of me. Like, you remember last week when I was having issues with the car?
Oh, yep.
Battery. So I got that replaced. That's all it was. It was the battery. Because that car I've had it for nearly like 5 years, so yeah. I mean,
it's time.
It's time. Didn't help the fact that the guys who inspected my fucking car in Pennsylvania drained the fucking battery. Fucking morons. But I remember one of the last times I got the battery. That's the other thing that scared me. It had been a long time since I had to replace a battery in a car. I had no idea they had gone up that much.
Oh yeah.
Like 100. I think the battery that I bought was like $150 fucking dollars. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, oh no, that might make sense because it's been well over 10 years since I bought a fucking battery.
It's been a while.
It's definitely been a while since I bought a battery. And one of the last times I got a new battery in the truck before I got rid of it, this dude, they changed the battery out. It was at Sears, and this he was a kid. He might have been like 20, and he's looking at me. He's like, I got the He came up to his manager. He's like, I got the battery in, but I can't get the keys out because it's one of those older model trucks that have the steering column button.
Yep.
That you have. Yeah, kids, this was another thing for key security. You had to push a button in the steering column to disengage the key so you could actually take it out of the damn ignition.
Yep.
Dude just had no clue about it. And I'm like, oh god.
You're like, oh.
I'm like, yeah. It's like, I know. I mean, back then this was like 2004, something like that. And I'm like, I know this. There's because this truck had power nothing.
Yeah, nothing.
No power windows, no power door, none of that shit. I'm like, I know this isn't like, but there's still cars that come in here on a regular basis, that you might be using similar to this. Yeah. You should be able to do this. But
guess no.
God damn no. Oh God. Before you get involved in this, how about we next time on Philly Film Games?
We'll save this for
we'll save this for a minute. So next time on Philly Film Games. Saving for the ass whooping.
Preparing my anus.